Fireworks on the floor of the Lok Sabha, viewers, but also outside, because you've had the Chief Minister of West Bengal, Mamata Banerjee, hold a press conference attacking the government on introduction of the Waqf Bill. On the other hand, where it comes down, you have the DMK chief, the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, M.K. Stalin, also writing a letter to the Prime Minister saying this is unconstitutional and attacks the Muslim community in the country. All right, let's quickly cut across to our panelists this evening. We're going to continue to cut into the Lok Sabha and the speakers right now. RLD spokesperson, RLD MP is speaking, Rajkumar Sangwan, and RLD, an ally of the NDA, has pledged support for the Waqf Bill. Tuhin Sinha, National Spokesperson BJP, Dr. Pooja Tripathi, National Spokesperson Congress, Anjum Ara, Spokesperson JDU, Pradeep Bhatti, Spokesperson Samajwadi Party, and Deepak Reddy Gunapati, National Spokesperson TDP. I want to immediately cut across to the Congress spokesperson first. Pooja Tripathi, we heard the Home Minister a short while ago, and it was a very concerted, pointed attack, especially where your own political outfit, Congress, is concerned, accusing you of, one, spreading misinformation, two, once again resorting to the politics of appeasement by fear-mongering in a community by suggesting that this bill was not going to go in their favor.
Preeti, good evening to all. It's ironical that Bharatiya Janata Party couldn't find a Muslim MP to introduce the bill that talks about the minority development. And when you call it Ummeed, I think it's a Unna Ummeed because it works against the constitutional safeguards of Article 25, 26 and the principle of federalism. That's the basic structure of constitution. It's now Ummeed because it's a thin-veiled attempt to encroach upon the illegal encroachment of the Waqf properties. And that's why, you just mentioned Gaurav Gogoi. And when you talk about fear-mongering, let me tell you, let me put the record straight. Congress is not against reforms. Congress is not against amendment. But the way they introduced it in JPC, they didn't discuss it clause by clause. They just bulldozed it through JPC. The 44 amendments of, that was suggested by the opposition members were not included. And when there was hue and cry, they were later redacted into the bill draft. And that speaks volumes of how fraudulently they want to go ahead with every bill of the country. Gaurav Gogoi actually gave a point-to-point rebuttal where he talked about clause 3A, where who will get to decide who is the practicing Muslims for 5 years. Now you'll start giving certificates to practicing Muslim that you have been practicing for 4.5 years or 5 years. Then they have been raising this huge propaganda that it includes women. I remember Congress leader, the Rajya Sabha MP IC Rahman, who was the Central Waqf Council member. When he was the Central Waqf Council chairman, there were 2 women members in both the Central Waqf Council and state tribunals. And so this has no air.
Okay. We're also going to start introducing the clock. I'm going to ask our producers to pull out the clock, 2 minutes each. Tuhin Sinha, I want to get you into this conversation. The fact is, there was a point that, the Congress spokesperson made. The intention is very clear because you can't even get a minority in terms, of course, you had Kiran Rijiju, the Minority Affairs Minister, who tabled the bill, but a Muslim MP in the House to actually moot the Waqf Bill. Number one. Number two, that you're violating constitution at every level is a charge which was made on the floor of the House by speakers across the board from the opposition, be it a Gaurav Gogoi and, the other MPs that followed.
Good evening, Preeti. Good evening, everybody. The Congress representatives' charge that we couldn't find a Muslim leader or Muslim MP to introduce the bill is as bizarre as Gaurav Gogoi saying that, we don't give the rights to Muslim to offer namaz on the roads. I mean, if you have heard Gaurav Gogoi, that's what he rooted for, offering namaz on the roads. Point is, a Buddhist minister introducing the bill is also a member of the minority community. But of course, for the Congress party, Buddhists and Jains and Sikhs don't constitute minority because they're obsessed with one minority. Now, the point is, today is a landmark day in India's parliamentary history. This legislation, undoes, it basically neutralizes the ill effects of the unconstitutional amendments brought about in 1995, particularly Section 40, which gave unbridled powers to the Waqf Board to aggrandize, to acquire property without, conforming to the tenets of law. And if you look at the amendments, some of the very specific amendments, basically neutralize that overreaching, that overriding powers of the Waqf, be it the removal of the Muslim cleric from the tribunal, which made the entire tribunal very lopsided. Today, with the passage of this bill in the next couple of hours, and then tomorrow in the Rajya Sabha, people will have the right to approach courts of law within 90 days after a Waqf acquisition, which was not there. So I think it's a landmark bill, but of course, the Congress party was obsessed with gifting land away. And as Honorable Home Minister rightly pointed out, after the introduction of the spurious amendment in 1995, the acquisition of Waqf had gone up exponentially. Besides, who would have a problem with digitization of records? Who would have a problem with proper accounting? Who would have a problem with proper, monitoring of these things? So I think, the Congress intention is fallacious.
All right, so your time is up. What we're also going to do is we're going to try and stick to the merits of the Waqf Amendment Bill instead of political rhetoric, because then it will at least supplement with what's going on in Parliament right now. Tuhin Sinha, you made the claim that yes, 100% it's going to have easy passage in the Lok Sabha. Each and every ally of the NDA has come together to support the bill. And however, what happens in Rajya Sabha tomorrow remains to be seen when the bill is going to be tabled, when it's tabled. But I want to bring in Pradeep Bhati, spokesperson, Samajwadi Party. The charge, Pradeep Bhati, is very clear. Fear-mongering by the likes of your party, by the likes of Congress, to instill a sense of othering when it comes down to the Muslims of India, while as per the Home Minister and the NDA, this bill will only help in a cohesive growth of the Muslim community.
Thank you and good evening to all. First of all, this mindset of calling a 14% population of this country a bizarre to have them in the parliament, this mindset needs to be defeated. So I strongly object on that. Irony is that the party which has zero presence in the parliament, Muslim representation, is talking about giving them justice in terms of this Waqf bill. They are spreading nothing but hatred and division in the society and diversion of the core issues. BJP claim of bringing this bill for the welfare of the poor Muslims and the underprivileged Muslims. So let me ask them, the votes you got from the underprivileged OBCs for the caste census, when you are going to do that? They survive the people who are calling or edifying the people of this community from their clothes and calling them as the snatchers of Mangal Sutra, now became the survivors of the same community. So these mindsets needs to be defeated. Second thing, the main core issues about the main basis of this Waqf bill is the structure and administration issues, the legal and judicial concerns, and the operational issues. Let me tell BJP spokesperson, if you want to start with the basics. Let's start with the land dispute. In the civil courts, 66% of the all the cases are on the land disputes itself, which goes into lakhs. So what you have done for that? You are talking about the corruption or bringing transparency. Who can give you a better example that every department of the government and every state government of yours is rampant indulging into the corruption, and every department is indulging into that. And you are the party who are calling that you will bring the black money in 100 days. And you will do.
Sir, your time is up. Your fader is going to go down. I'll come back to you when your 2 minutes start again. Deepak Reddy Gunapati, National Spokesperson TDP, has come out in strong support of the Waqf Amendment Bill, standing by your ally. Would you like to give us the merits of the bill on why the TDP has decided to support the Waqf Amendment Bill? Or you're very keen that the amendments that you had put forth be included? Because they will be voting on the amendments as well.
A very good evening to everybody, ma'am. In fact, Chandrababu Naidu ji has been very active, and he was looking into the aspects of this bill and talking to all our leaders till late midnight last night. And today, he's spoken to all the minority leaders in Andhra Pradesh via phone, via teleconferencing, to actually tell them the facts about the bill. Congress party has, and the India ecosystem especially, has given out so much of negative information and trying to instigate the Muslim community from across the country. It is really shameful that they have stooped down to such levels. And from Telugu Desam Party, we are proud to say that we were one of the first to say that we need a JPC and we need to go into the details. And we have suggested 3 amendments, which we thought were very crucial to protect the rights of the Muslims, especially the Waqf by user. And by that we can protect all the properties which are being claimed by the Waqf board. One thing I would like to bring on record, ma'am. The Congress and the India ecosystem does so much of drama, but we have done a math in Andhra Pradesh. There are totally 66,783 acres under the Waqf board. Out of that, 31,595 acres are illegally occupied just in the last 5 years. If the previous act was so good, how come 50% of the land belonging to Muslims in Andhra Pradesh has been illegally occupied by others? So there was a problem. And Chandrababu Naidu ji wanted to address this problem, and we have taken the consent of all the Muslim community leaders in Andhra Pradesh. So they had one concern: they didn't want a non-Muslim to be in that board. But in the state of Andhra Pradesh, we are going to examine ways to protect that that particular demand of the Muslim community also.
All right, I'm going to come back to you, and I'm going to ask you on those 3 amendments that you had proposed. Will the TDP still be there on, will insist on all those 3 amendments that the TDP posed? Anjum Ara, आपके नेता ललन सिंह ने आज समर्थन दिया है बिल को, साफ बोला है कि ये एक जो ऑपोजिशन है वो फेयर मंगरिंग में ज्यादा पड़ रहा है और लोगों को उत्साह रहा है कि जो माइनॉरिटी कम्युनिटी है, मुसलमान है, कि ये बिल आपके लिए ठीक नहीं है। क्यों जेडीयू इसका समर्थन कर रही है आज?
देखिए, यह बिल जो है पारदर्शिता, ट्रांसपेरेंसी, एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव सुधार और साथ ही साथ रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी को यह कवर कर रहा है। साथ ही साथ मैं एक चीज आपको बता दूं कि जब ये बिल आया तो बिहार में माननीय मुख्यमंत्री नीतीश कुमार जी के समक्ष जितने भी सामाजिक संगठन के नेता थे या फिर धार्मिक गुरु थे, वो लोग जाकर के मिले और उन्होंने अपनी आशंका और चिंता को उनके समक्ष रखा था। उन आशंका और चिंताओं को हमारे जेपीसी के जो माननीय सदस्य, माननीय सांसद दिलेश्वर कामत जी ने उसको वहां पे अक्षर पॉइंट वाइज बना करके उन्होंने रखा। जब ये बिल आया है पटल पे तो हम लोग को निश्चित रूप से इस बात की खुशी हो। और एक चीज और मैं कहूंगी, इस बिल को बिना किसी प्रीजुडिस और बिना किसी बायस को देखना होगा। देखिए, महिलाओं की विमेन एम्पावरमेंट की सभी बात करते हैं, अल्लाह की मखलूकात महिलाएं भी रही हैं, लेकिन आप सोचिए कि जब से इंडिया में इस्लाम आया है लेकिन महिलाओं का वक्फ में कहीं कोई एग्जिस्टेंस नहीं था। पासमानदा की बात, वक्फ जो किया जाता है संपत्ति किसके लिए किया गया है? अल्लाह ने क्या कहा है? अल्लाह ने कहा है गरीबों के लिए, मजलूमों के लिए, मिस्किनों के लिए, विडो के लिए, हेल्पलेस लोगों के लिए, गरीब तबकों के लिए इस संपत्ति का इस्तेमाल किया जाएगा। लेकिन जिस तरह से वक्फ की संपत्ति पे करप्शन व्याप्त रहा है, आपने देखा होगा कि सुबह से एक वीडियो बहुत तेजी से वायरल हो रहा था। उस वक्त के माननीय मुख्यमंत्री थे आदरणीय लालू प्रसाद यादव जी, 2010 का वो वीडियो है। सदन में बहुत मजबूती से कह रहे हैं कि ये बिल तो आप लोगों ने लाया है, बड़ा हल्का बिल है, पास कर देते हैं, लेकिन वक्फ को लेकर के कड़े बिल लाने की जरूरत है। और उन्होंने गिनाया था कि उस वक्त की जितना पटना की प्राइम लोकेटेड जो जमीन वक्फी रही है वो तमाम दबंगों ने उसको कब्जा कर रखा है। तो ये भ्रष्टाचार को खत्म करता है और साथ ही साथ सोशल जस्टिस की बात तमाम पॉलिटिकल पार्टियां करती है। लेकिन मुझे दुख होता है ये बात कहने के लिए, जब मुसलमानों के अलावा अदर देन कम्युनिटी के सोशल जस्टिस की बात तो सब मजबूती से करते हैं, विपक्ष करता है, लेकिन जब मुस्लिम के अंदर सोशल जस्टिस की बात आती है तो ये वहां पे पीछे हट जाते हैं। बहुत
आपका वक्त अंजुम जी खत्म हो गया है, मैं आपके पास फिर आऊंगी 2 मिनट के लिए, बट आई वांट टू कट अक्रॉस राइट नाउ बिफोर वी स्टार्ट अनदर राउंड वेयर आई विल गिव each of the spokespersons 2 minutes each to put their views, their party's views on why they oppose or support this particular bill. Listen in to what went down in Parliament. The Minority Affairs Minister Kiran Rijiju tabled the bill in Lok Sabha. Then opposition came in from the ranks of the India Alliance. Listen in to Kiran Rijiju and then Imran Masood from the Congress.
ये कहते हैं कि हमारा देश में लैंड बैंक जो है वक्फ बोर्ड के पास 3rd लार्जेस्ट है। पहला रेलवे, इंडियन रेलवे, फिर इंडियन आर्मी मतलब इंडियन डिफेंस का, और फिर कहता है वक्फ बोर्ड के पास जमीन है। मैं उसको सुधारना चाहता हूं। सर, आप भी तो ट्रेन में चलते हैं, हम लोग भी ट्रेन में चलते हैं। हजारों किलोमीटर ट्रेन का पटरी लगा हुआ है, स्टेशन बना हुआ है। वो ट्रेन का पटरी लगा हुआ है, वो रेलवे का प्रॉपर्टी थोड़ी है, ये तो देश का प्रॉपर्टी है। वक्फ प्रॉपर्टी प्राइवेट प्रॉपर्टी होता है सर। तो इसलिए दुनिया में सबसे ज्यादा वक्फ प्रॉपर्टी हिंदुस्तान में है। सिर्फ हमारा देश में ही नहीं, दुनिया का सबसे बड़ा और सबसे ज्यादा वक्फ प्रॉपर्टी हिंदुस्तान में है। तो फिर ये क्यों है 60 साल तक आप सरकार में रहे हैं, हमारे देश में मुसलमान इतना गरीब क्यों है? जब दुनिया का सबसे ज्यादा वक्फ प्रॉपर्टी हमारा देश में है, तो हमारा गरीब मुसलमानों का पढ़ाई के लिए, मेडिकल ट्रीटमेंट के लिए, स्किलिंग के लिए, इनकम जनरेशन के लिए क्यों काम नहीं हुआ आज तक, बताइए। ये दुनिया का सबसे बड़ा।
I'm going to allot you two minutes each to put your party's point forward on why you have opposed or supported this bill. Dr. Pooja Tripathi, you heard your panelists earlier. Make your case. 2 minutes start now.
I think, Preeti, I want to just show this photo to my fellow BJP spokesperson, where he said that there was no directive against namaz on roads. Your Minister of State, Jayant Chaudhary, had called this UP government directive as Orwellian in nature. So I think you should brush your. But I'll come to the debate. I think Ikra was brilliant in her speech, and she raised across points of how this is just a tokenism and in the form of women empowerment. Now, the point they have been raising is the transparency and accountability. Transparency, they have been raising voice about digitization. Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi, in the last Lok Sabha, in the last Rajya Sabha session, he said that 99.9% of digitization of work property has been completed. Then why do you want to move to Vamsi portal? We have seen when we are moving to a new system, as we have seen in demonetization, it never yields any result. It just backfires on you. And when you talk about Section 52A, Clause 26, earlier it was the encroachment without documentation was a non-bailable serious criminal offense. It has been diluted to a bailable criminal offense. And then you talk about, you're reforming the whole Waqf Amendment Act. Clause 44 has taken away the state powers to regulate the state boards. On the Section 83(9), earlier it was there that High Court can turn around the acceptance and the rejection of work property, and you can always appeal to the tribunal. And now Section 97, the earlier act, had central government can override the state government and the High Court and ask on the status of work properties. Gaurav Gogoi very rightly asked how many times government has put in Section 97. They today discussed that even Parliament has been claimed by Waqf as a work property. How many times they have revoked Section 97 and asked the work properties that what is your documentation, what is your validity to claim this property as yours? Nothing. It's just hue and cry, it's just propaganda. This is the same Bharatiya Janata Party spokesperson who...
Your time is up. 2 minutes are up. Tuhin Sinha, please respond. Your 2 minutes start now.
Preeti, a lot of questions are being repeatedly hurled at us. So let me, very pointedly address those questions. Number one, why are Hindus being included? Please understand that there is a difference between a temple management body and the Waqf board, which is a real estate management body. The Waqf board is not even a religious body in that sense. It is a purely administrative body. And when you have the claims of land, being made against members of other communities, and I have given you multiple examples. Tiruchendurai in Tamil Nadu, where a 1500-year-old temple exists, that entire village has been claimed by the Waqf board. A village in Haryana, where a 400-year-old Gurudwara exists, that village has been claimed by the Waqf board. There is a similar dispute going on in Kerala, where land belonging to the Christian community has been claimed by the Waqf board. So in this situation, it is an imperative to include members of the other community whose lands are being regularly claimed and, sometimes usurped. Number two, they say they always grudge our claim that this is in the interests of the poor Muslims. But fact is that there are some 10,000 litigations which have been, the 10,000 legal cases which have been filed by Muslims against the operations, against the management of the Waqf board. And many of these include some of the influential Muslim members of the Waqf board discreetly selling properties of the Waqf and, pocketing profits. So it is for the benefit of the poor, and, for the first time, representation in the board will be given to Pasmanda Muslims, Aga Khan, Muslims belonging to the Aga Khan community, Bohra community, all of these had been left behind. And once again, I come to the basic thing, reforms need to be celebrated. Why does the Congress party, in such situations pretend to be even more radical than the Muslim League? That is the moot question, because Congress's concerns are completely unfounded.
Well, you've ended dot on time. I'm going to give the 2 minutes to our other guests as well. But before that, listen in on what's happening on the floor of the Parliament. A fiery face-off, of course, two very different speeches. You had Ravi Shankar Prasad and you have Akhilesh Yadav. Listen in.
आप इस बिल का विरोध करते हैं तो क्यों करते हैं? इसका जवाब नहीं दे रहे। और मैं चाहूंगा सब लोग मेरी बात पर जवाब दें कि आपको इस बिल से क्या परेशानी है। नंबर 2, क्या आप चाहते हैं कि वक्फ की प्रॉपर्टी हड़पने, लूटने, दलाली, बिचौलियों के बीच में रहे या गरीबों के लिए काम में आए, पसमंदा मुसलमानों के लिए काम में आए, बेटियों के लिए काम में आए? ये उसके लिए रास्ता खोलता है
कि ये वक्फ बिल जो लेकर के आए कोई उम्मीद लेकर के नहीं आ रहा है। ये सोची समझी रणनीति का हिस्सा है, क्योंकि इनका जो बोर्ड बिखर गया है, ये मुस्लिम में भी बंटवारा चाहते हैं। मुस्लिम इस्लाम धर्म में कहीं बंटवारा नजर नहीं आता है, लेकिन इनकी कोशिश है कि इस बिल के माध्यम से हम मुस्लिम भाईचारा में भी बंटवारा करते हैं।
Deepak Reddy, Gunapati, your 2 minutes begin now. The question that I asked you earlier, you had asked for 3 amendments. Have they been taken into the draft which could be adopted by the end of day in Lok Sabha?
Ma'am, our Chief Minister, has personally directed our MPs to insist on this. The first thing is the lands which are there already under the Waqf board have to be protected. So the Waqf by user clause is something what we have suggested. So by that, we can protect the existing lands which are already there under the boards. So that's a success. The second one is, rather than a collector, we wanted a higher level officer because the collector might not have that kind of a time, and a higher level officer cannot be influenced even by the state government. So this is the second amendment, and which was accepted, which is a success from our side. And the third is the timeline. We have suggested the 6 months timeline so that justice can be done. So you cannot be left behind only on the basis of time. What's important here is in Andhra Pradesh we have like the Pasmanda, like a few sects in Muslims like Dudakala and Pinjara, which is majority of the percentage of the Muslim population, but they are living in absolute poverty. They are not getting the benefits. So we are looking into all these aspects also. And Chandrababu Naidu ji just about 3 days ago has vowed to protect the Waqf lands. So here there is a lot of negativity and misinformation being spread by the Indie ecosystem, and we are proud that the Muslims of Andhra Pradesh have not listened to all that nonsense, and they have not been instigated, and they still stand by TDP because seeing our track record that we stand for their rights. And one last concern what the Muslims of especially Andhra Pradesh have, they don't want a non-Muslim to be on that board. We are exploring avenues where we can protect that interest, at least on the state level. So once again, today Chandrababu Naidu ji has spoken to all the Muslim leaders. I mean, across the state, he's taken them on a telephone conference and explained to them what is going on and what are the efforts which have been put in by the TDP
All right,
party,
so your time
and
is
how
up.
we are protecting
Anju
the rights.
7% मुसलमान का वोट 2020 में जब पहली चुनाव the last time Bihar went to election, JDU को गया था. The JDU itself, आप amendments लाना चाह रहे हैं इस बिल में, वो कौन से amendments हैं? क्या आपको बता दिया गया है कि all those amendments will be taken in before you pledge support?
फिर से क्वेश्चन रिपीट करेंगे, आवाज स्पष्ट नहीं आ रही।
अंजुम आरा जी, जेडीयू ने भी तो अमेंडमेंट्स हैं कई जो इस बिल में चाहती है, जो आपकी पार्टी है, वो कौन से अमेंडमेंट्स हैं? क्या वो सारे एक्सेप्ट हो चुके हैं इसीलिए समर्थन दिया गया है?
नहीं, देखिए ये चीज, इस बात की जानकारी एक तो हमारे राष्ट्रीय कार्यकारी अध्यक्ष आदरणीय संजय झा ने बिल्कुल स्पष्ट शब्दों में कहा कि हम लोगों ने जो सुझाव दिया था रेट्रोस्पेक्टिव हो ना हो करके प्रोस्पेक्टिव रहिए, ये हमारा एक सजेशन था। और जो 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 कंसर्न था हमारा, वो निश्चित रूप से हमने समर्थन दिया है, तो हमारा जो कंसर्न है वो आ गया होगा। लेकिन सबसे बड़ी बात है प्रीति जी, मैं ये कहना चाहती हूँ कि बिल के पीछे खड़े होकर के जिस तरह से विपक्ष स्वार्थ सिद्धि कर रहा है, ये अल्पसंख्यकों के बहुत बड़े खैरखा ये अभी बन रहे हैं। सच्चर कमीशन की रिपोर्ट प्रीति जी अल्पसंख्यकों की उदासीनता की धज्जियां उड़ा करके रख देता है। अभी अभी हम आदरणीय अखिलेश जी को हम सुन रहे थे, किस तरह से वो बात कर रहे थे कि मुसलमानों में डिवीजन की वो बात कर रहे थे। ये कितना बड़ा धोखा है। क्यों सोशल जस्टिस सिर्फ हिंदू समाज में या अदर देन मुस्लिम समाज में? मुसलमानों के अंदर सोशल जस्टिस तो कभी इनकी सोच ही में नहीं थी। ये तो हमारी सरकार, एनडीए की सरकार, चाहे वो मोदी सरकार हो या नीतीश सरकार हो, सोशल जस्टिस मुसलमानों के बीच में भी देने का काम किया है। और ये हमारा जो अमेंडमेंट बिल है इसकी तस्दीक करता है। पसमानदों का रिप्रेजेंटेशन को लेकर के, महिलाओं को लेकर के, महिला सशक्तिकरण की बात करते हैं, क्यों विरोध कर रहे हैं? महिलाओं का रिप्रेजेंटेशन यहाँ पे मिला हुआ है, वो भी अल्लाह की मखलूकात है। और महिलाओं ने अपने आप को साबित किया है कि वो पुरुषों से कहीं कम नहीं रही है। तो विमेन एम्पावरमेंट हम लोग को देखने को मिल रहा है। वक्फ की संपत्ति प्रीति जी, हमारा एक कंसर्न हमेशा था इस बात को लेकर के कि वक्फ की संपत्ति गरीबों के लिए है, वो वहां तक अचीव नहीं हो पाता था। जिस तरह से करप्शन और भ्रष्टाचार ये पटल पे है, ये वेल नोन फैक्ट, इसको कोई नहीं डिनाई कर सकता। एक बेस्ट मैनेजमेंट इस बिल से होता हुआ हम लोगों को दिख रहा है। तो आखिर में मेन एसेंशियल, मेन स्पिरिट वक्फ की संपत्ति का क्या है? वो जो मेन एसेंशियल, मेन स्पिरिट है प्रीति जी, वो हम लोग को दिख रहा है कि इस बिल के माध्यम से अचीव होगा। यही कारण है कि जनता दल यूनाइटेड ने इस बिल का समर्थन किया है।
जी
तो
प्रदीप भाटी, आपका वक्त खत्म हो गया है। अंजुम जी वापस फिर आएंगे। प्रदीप भाटी, यू हैव 2 minutes. Charges both where the BJP is concerned, and then you just heard Ms. Sara.
Preeti, look, who is doing all this fear-mongering? You can see from last 10, 11 years, the way BJP is ruling, it's bulldozing every social fabric of this country. And fear-mongering has come to that level that they have started bulldozing every values and principle of this country. Anjuman was talking about the social justice. She is not even aware that MDs do not believe in Waqf. So when we are in the power in Uttar Pradesh, we are doing social justice for every community. There was no division of into the on the basis of religion, caste, or creed. It was done for everyone. Today, that same minister, previously minister, the same MP, Anurag Thakur, who was doing the same thing, Goli Maro dash dash dash, today saying this is a Mughlagi Farman. So the last previous Waqf bill was a Mughlagi Farman. That's what he was trying to say. So one hand you say these things, on the other hand you are saying that we are doing justice for the Muslim community, Muslim poor, who will rely on you. So these kind of things will not go with your words, what you are saying. Third thing about the women representation, it has not come in this bill. It was there in the previous bill as well. And previous bill, as rightly said by the Congress spokesperson also, that it was there and it was even you can have more than two women representation. So it was not there. Third thing about the TDP spokesperson talking about the drama and India alliance as a misinformed and all. Let me remind him that where his information has gone when Mr. Chandrababu Naidu calling accusing Prime Minister Modi for being suppressing the Muslim community, calling him as a terrorist and calling in the right word कि उसके सर पे सी निकल आए हैं. So you better judge where you are standing.
So your time's up. I'm going to give all our panelists just 1 minute each. I'm running out of time. Tuhin Sinha, make your pitch. Your 1 minute starts now.
Well, Preeti, in all of the speeches made by the opposition MPs, it is very clear that they cannot grow out of, minority appeasement and regressive thought process. I will give you an example of Kalyan Banerjee, who went on record to say that with the removal of Section 40 of the 1995 Waqf Act, the Waqf board does not make sense, which in effect means that the whole purpose for Congress party and for TMC and for other, India Alliance partners for Waqf to exist was land aggrandizement. And this is precisely what we have undone. This is precisely what we have nullified and which worries them to such an extent. like I said at the very start, this is a historic moment for India in India's parliamentary history. And going ahead, if this loot of Waqf, of the Waqf board had not been circumvented, had not ended, I think it would have had major repercussions for the social structure of our country in the years to come.
All right, Pooja Tripathi, 1 minute. Dr. Tripathi starts right now. Make your pitch.
Preeti, I want to bring in Bharatiya Janata Party national spokesperson few days back on X wrote, when he shared the iftar pictures, he said कि कुंभ नहीं गए पर कुत्ते चाट प्लेट iftar की प्लेट चाटने आ गए. That's their mentality of minority, upliftment, appeasement, and reform. Waqf Amendment Bill is against the principles of social harmony, against the principles of constitutional guarantees, against the principles of, minority reforms. And I quote again Ikra, I really liked her, line when she said this acts against the Bajood and Virasat of Muslim communities. It's just noise. It's just noise to, illegally encroach the land. The eyes is on land, and that's why they have come out with this empty reforms, which holds no ground. They were already there in the Parent Act, and that's where we India Alliance members oppose this tooth and nail.
All right, 1 minute, Miss Anjumara, 1 minute है आपके पास. आपने समर्थन किया है बिल का, क्यों?
देखिए, जनता पार्टी जो जनता दल यूनाइटेड हमारी पार्टी है, वो समाजवादी विचारधारा की पार्टी है. गरीबों, शोषितों, पिछड़ों, अल्पसंख्यकों, महिलाओं के न्याय के साथ सबका विकास करने वाली ये पार्टी है. और इस बिल में स्पष्ट तौर पे सोशल जस्टिस, जब मैं बात करूं, पासमानदा की बात कर रही हूं, मुसलमानों की बात कर रही हूं, जो अब तक ये नेग्लेक्टेड रहे हैं. वक्फ जहां भी बोर्ड है, आप देख लीजिएगा प्रीति जी, पासमानदा का रिप्रेजेंटेशन नगण्य है. समाजवादी पार्टी के प्रवक्ता कह रहे थे कि सभी जगह मौजूद है. अगर ऐसा रहता तो क्यों प्रोविजन, क्यों एक्सप्रेस किया रहता? महिलाओं की अगर मौजूदगी रहती, विमेन एम्पावरमेंट को हम इंश्योर और कंफर्म करते. बिहार ने एक नजीर प्रस्तुत किया विमेन एम्पावरमेंट को लेकर के, तो फिर ये एक्सप्रेस क्यों करके इस एक्ट में दिया रहता? क्योंकि कहीं ऐसा नहीं था. और सबसे बड़ी चीज है, जो दबंगई थी, लूट थी, वक्फ का जो एसेंशियल स्पिरिट था, वो अचीव नहीं हो पा रहा था उन तबकों तक जिसके लिए बुजुर्गों ने वक्त किया था. इस संपत्ति का मैनेजमेंट बहुत ही पारदर्शिता के साथ.
प्रदीप भाटी जी, 1 minute starts now, sir. Make your pitch.
See, BJP is on the path of land grabbing for their near and dears. That is the sole purpose, the reason why they are doing it. And there is a myth about that on the land which Bob wants to put a finger, it will be a worse land. And the tribunals will not, courts will not hold any say in that, which is is complete myth, and there is no thing like that, because there are over 2.5 dozens of tribunals, and most of the tribunals have civil court powers. And the same goes, they are tribunals which has even power greater than the High Court also. So this is, if you are doing for the one tribunal, then do it for the other tribunals also. If you are if you are giving justice to each and every section of the society, so don't spread the myth about the Waqf land, and at the same time make a consensus and consult everyone.
Okay, Deepak Reddy Gunapati, sir, 1 minute.
Entire mess has been created by the Congress party, and these reforms are needed to streamline what is happening. What is bad is they have been continuously casting aspersions on Chandrababu Naidu ji and the Telugu Desam party. But we are very happy that the Muslim community, not just in Andhra Pradesh, across India, hasn't fallen prey for their false information, and they have not taken them very seriously. So you can see some of the dharnas which took place in Delhi. They had to pay people to come and sit there, and they had to get some few kids to stand there in the dharna. So the India ecosystem has made a fool out of themselves.
Okay. I'm going to come in. You have Kiran Rijiju. I'm sorry, I'm cutting in your time. Kiran Rijiju, Minority Affairs Minister, speaking in Parliament.
डिनर का बंदोबस्त किया है. 8 बजे के बाद जो माननीय सदस्य भोजन लेना चाहते हैं, आप जाकर के बहुत ही अच्छा भोजन बनाए, आप उसका लुत्फ उठा सकते हैं. धन्यवाद.
धन्यवाद जी. माननीय श्री के सुब्रायन जी, श्री सुब्रायन जी, यस.